Woo! Nice. I said that and then like trucks just went by. What's up, everybody? This is Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and I am joined by my lovely, beautiful friend, Captain Shakespeare from Unpopular Review, and we are going to be talking about Euphoria. Whew. I feel like if you know, like if you watch the show, you know it's been a hell of a season. We did like the Twitter conversations, the social media conversations, the stress, because I'm stressed. I've been checking these episodes, the girl was stressed. And so we're going to kind of give a review, recap our thoughts on the season. So, spoiler warning now, if you have not watched the rest of the episodes, you probably want to kind of dip. You might want to dip during this because we're going to be spoiling a lot. Because, yeah. But, I don't know, where should we start? Because, like I said, I feel like this season definitely had me a little stressed out a bit.
Well, I feel like the way that the show kind of started was focusing on Fez. I mean, I guess we can Fez and his grandmother, of course, who's like a serious freaking badass. Like, so I was like, chill out, lady, chill out. I thought I just feel bad for Fez. I feel like Fez got dealt a bad hand, and he has done the best that he can with that hand. And I was so sad for like just seeing how the whole like him growing up. I was like, damn, Fez, like damn.
Yeah, I want to say he had really good development. He's probably one of the people I feel this season who had pretty solid development over the season, as far as you can kind of see. Like I always thought he's pretty cool in the first season. Like he was just like the chill back homie. You like, you know, you wouldn't just kind of shoot the shit with. You'd probably go talk to him. And so I thought he had pretty good character development. And I was actually very heartbroken for him by the last episode. I was like, there was like no way to like, I guess, process the way it was processed, because even down to like him putting the suit on and getting all ready for the play, and I'm like, oh, look at him getting all dressed up. Like I was like, all right, bro, like I was feeling it, and then everything went a whole like south, and went to like hell in a handbasket, and I was like, wait, so I was very stressed. So I definitely do like feel like I felt a lot of like sympathy for his character overall. It was actually really like, damn, like, I mean, I'm a writer, so I get it. Sometimes you do something with characters and you kind of do what you have to do, but I'm not sure if it was necessarily needed for his character. I feel like there's some people who need it a lot more bad. More worse than he's got. I feel like there was a lot of characters who kind of skated through that season with not getting some repercussions properly, and so I was definitely hurt for him. Like that hurt. I'm not gonna lie, because I thought he was really cool. Like he's like the homie guy. Like you just want to talk to the homie real quick, you call him up and you can just chill. Like, you don't have to make anything. It have to be like nothing extra complicated. It's just you chilling. That's the vibe I got from him, and so it was definitely kind of it was sad. I definitely was hurt. I was like had to process the episode. Like, well, damn, what Dale, what do we do?
Yeah, no, it was really sad. Like the man just wanted to go see a damn play. For God's sakes, like, can he go see his play real quick? Y'all couldn't have waited. I feel like I could have, but I felt so bad, and I also feel bad for Ashtray. I feel like if Fed didn't get a fair play at life, Ashtray 100% didn't get a fair play at life. His mom just left him with a drug dealer, traded him.
Yeah, yeah. I was just saying earlier to somebody, he was like mature but immature at the same time, because like his circumstances kind of forced him to be a bit mature in certain situations. Like when he was like in season 1, he was going to drive Rue home, and I'm like, I don't know how you drive in at like 12, but okay. All right, he's kind of a little responsible in the fact that he was kind of handling the money in the store. Like, even when it came to things like calling through the apartment, he was really on it. But then a lot of his responses to things was very immature, what you expect from somebody of his age,
Mm-hmm.
where he thought first. He acted without thinking. A lot of acting without thinking, and that I like that whole like camera angles when they were going between. I guess I can't think of the guy's name that he kind of wound up stabbing in his throat.
I forgot his name.
I feel like he wasn't important enough for me to remember his name, and I just like because you one of those, and like not that I dabble in any of this. It's not even that. It's just like you was trying so hard to get him to snitch on himself. Like he was like, let's have a conversation. What we're gonna say? Like nobody talks like that. Even if this is your home, we're not talking like that. Like let's go extra hard to break the whole thing down. Nobody does that. And I'm like, I don't know why Fez didn't pick that up because I caught that right away. It was just like, even if I wasn't involved, like if I was completely uninvolved in the situation, I would have caught that. Like, but why are we doing? Why is it this? Oh, why do we have to have a whole conversation? Y'all know what happened. You don't need to have this weird conversation. Like, let's break it down piece by piece. And that to me was like. Ashtray caught that, and then it was like after that it was like gloves are off, and so that I was just like once that you kind of saw the expression like he's getting angry, you see it, and I'm like, oh man, please don't be like, come on, bro, like can we like think of it a little bit, and then when the cops got there and he just was like I was like no, I'm like bro, I'm like yelling at the TV like. Like I get it that you feel this is I've never been in a situation where I feel like the only option is I had to go guns a-blazing. So I don't understand that level, but in regards to like he was so into the life that it was like I'm not even going to jail. I'm just gonna go down. I'm just gonna go down swinging. That I felt like that he didn't even want to listen to what Spence was saying. Like Spence was like, I will take this for you. Like I will take the rap for this. You can just, and he was just like completely ignoring it. And in my head, it was just like, he wasn't going to, it was like, I'm not going to jail at all. And I thought like, maybe if it was told the right way, maybe he could have been to juvie or something because he was younger, in a younger scale. Yeah. Sometimes depending, they can be a little more lenient, and he's not, he's a white kid. So they might have been a little more lenient, like with him. He might have gotten juvie, but he just was like completely like that, F this. And so I was like, bro, he had me stressed because I'm like, and then I felt like even the grandma, I was annoyed by that side, and they was just shooting like that. And I'm like, see, I don't care that there might be other people in the house. Like they showed past her body, and I'm like, so what if she got like a gunshot wound from all of that because she can't talk and say, oh, by the way, I got hit. Like she's like clearly in like a comatose type of situation, and so I was just like, y'all really just gave no shits about if there might have been other innocent occupants in the house. And I get that you guys want to get them off the street, blah 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 blah, but it was like, come on. And then when Fez was like laying there, and I'm like, y'all didn't even give him like medical treatment. Like you could still handcuff him if you need a handcuff, but like give him some medical treatment. Like I was just so many things. I was so annoyed by like the whole cop thing, but I feel like if the girl would have just kind of said a little sooner, like when she first knew, when she first heard that, okay, he's gonna tell, he's working out a deal, and she should have just said, then, look, we might have to figure this out. I felt like it was way too soon, rather too late for her to kind of decide to be, yeah, I'm helping you now. And when people was like, oh, I love her now, I was like, no, not me, because he should have said something a little sooner that this might have played out a whole nother way. Maybe Fez would have got arrested, but he could have went to the play. He could have had his one moment with Lexi, because clearly, like even showing the text messages between them, and you see the different. You see, like they keep showing us, like, oh, he was trying a little bit to be a little different. He was trying, Could have been different if she would have kind of spoke up a little sooner. I was like, sis, you waited she waited too long. And while I respect it that she wound up helping them, and it just took too long. She did that from the very beginning. Because I'm like, listen, you guys, it's like, in a situation like that, everybody involved usually go down for that. Any type of, like, drug charges, they'll get the one person who might have been there at one time. That's how they try to get everybody ever involved. And so, I just felt like she should have said something, but I was really like, I was hurt because he was, at the end of the day, he was just a kid who kind of got a really shitty, uh, it was just shitty because this is the situation he was put in. He never had the choice
Right.
to see what could have been a regular, like a regular high school, and not that because half these kids in the school, I was like, if I ever came acting like this to my mother in high school, I won't be here to have this conversation today. And so, like, there would be no me having a YouTube, nothing. I would not be talking to anybody. I would have probably lost my life if I even tried. Hey, Ron, my homie. Even if I would have tried to be like, Mom, I'm doing this. How to play that for me? And so, I just feel like I felt like an Ash case. He legit, like, even when she was like, he was at the spot when he was on the sink.
Yeah.
And he was like a baby, and I'm like, sis, like, pay attention, like, what are you doing? Like, mom and me was upset. I was like, how do you have this kid just sit here? Like, what is wrong? I was ready to fight her as a mom, but that bothered me because it's like, come on.
Some people should not be moms.
And so, like, I get, again, this is what she knew, but it's like you put these on the kids and they had no choice, especially Ashtray. And so, I felt like maybe maybe they wouldn't have, like, killed him if he didn't shoot the cop, but I felt like, and yes, technically, they could have still got him in handcuffs, because he did stop shooting. They could have put him in handcuffs, but they probably like, he shot a cop. He shot about all of us mad times. We don't just, and so I think by that point, they was just like, it's fine, we're going to just kind of get rid of him. And so that, I think that realization, like, you see it on his face, like, okay, this is kind of the end. And I'm like, God, like, me at the TV, like, bro, you have one job. Like, I get it. I understand that you didn't want to go, but come on. The fact that you pretended to play dead and then you pop up, I'm like, bro, you were really trying to go out guns blazing. And so it was unfortunate that he was so young that was the end for him. And so, yeah, I was definitely sad about that. And, like, Fez, it's like, I'm going to assume it's going to go down for, like, 2 murders. Since the murder that they were, like, kind of wiretapping him for, and then he did purposely put his print on the knife that Ash stabbed the other unmentionable guy from. And so I feel like he's going to go down for 2 murders, which means he might not ever get the life he might have had or any type of anything with Lexi, and it makes me sad. It's just like, like.
No, I don't think that, because I think Faye kind of saves him with kind of throwing Lori under the bus, and then also it's like, they were doing the wiretap to get the evidence. So they still don't have that evidence to prove that, Fez had anything to do with it. Now, the thing with that guy that, got stabbed in the neck, probably Faye is going to say it was Ashtray. I feel like Faye likes Fez more. Like, from the very beginning. Yeah. Ashtray, like, when the first day that Fez moved Faye in, Ashtray did not like it. He wasn't a fan of it. So, I mean, it's not going to be anything for her to be like, no, the little 12-year-old did it, and even though Fez probably won't go along with it, I think that they'll listen to Faye, and I don't think he'll get like a really long sentence for those reasons. They still can't prove Mouse. They cannot prove Mouse.
Well, yeah, now they can't. His print was on that knife though, and so I don't know. He did wipe the handle, so Ashtray's print shouldn't be on it anymore, and then he put his print, like, I guess they made sure to let us see that he put his fingerprint on the blade, and then he did drop it when they came in, and so there might be the chance that he might go down for 1 murder, or maybe it'll be some random, like, evidence, and then we'll be like, oh, yay, like, yeah, he did some things, yes, he definitely done some things, and maybe should be some kind of consequence, but I feel like that level of, like, damn, like, whew, it just seems like so bad, everything, kind of piled up. I think, what did Lily say? Listen, she had me stressed out too. Like, that whole episode, so that whole episode with her and the running, first of all, I was kind of annoyed with the cops in that episode too, because, like, how did you chase a girl for throwing up?
Because they're weird. Like, they really
like, I was like, if she was doing something, like, you saw her had drugs on her, or you saw her, like, just sniff something, or she was doing some other crime, I'd be like, all right, she got caught. Or she was like, I'm okay, barf, and then they chased, and I'm like, yeah, she ran, but technically she didn't really, again, a lot of people, I guess, in situations sometimes it's like, fight or flight. I think she just, like, oh shit, they're asking too many questions. There was no need to chase her through the whole neighborhood and she's sitting here popping in garbage cans and people's pools and roofs and everything. I'm like, why are we why are we doing this? Why are you chasing her this hard? You talk about all the crime that happens. This is you. Take your job right now and let's go chase. We were like, I was so irritated. I was like, see you guys doing like regular cops and just being completely ridiculous. This is not the time to be chasing. Like, if all the things that is going on, this is what you chase after because she robbed it. It was like, if she did something more, okay. And I will say with regards to Lori, because my thing is, I personally, if I'm, in a situation where I'm running an empire like that, I would never trust somebody I know do drugs, personally. I just feel like until you know they're completely clean, going to be clean for a very long time, you don't ever trust them with certain things. And I love Rue, but I feel like Lori was plotting from when she was like, yeah, I shouldn't. I'm like, okay, you was plotting, sis, because I would never knowing that, she's like lying and everything, like Ruth lied multiple times throughout this season. Why would you give her that much unless you were already plotting like she's a pretty girl? And then, so I was stressed for her when she woke up, like, even her lying about, I don't have morphine. I don't have it. Then you see her pull it out and they kind of have it in the background. Like that episode particularly showing that she did have it. And she's being a little shady. And so poor Rue is so like in the spot that she didn't realize what we as the audience saw. And so I was stressed for her when she woke up. I was like, no, tell me, like, please tell me I didn't do anything to her while she was gone. Because that was my first thing. Was like, please tell me I didn't get this girl while she was all like knocked out. And y'all had people do things to her. That was the first thing I thought. And I'm guessing at least the kind of tie up that end of the story whenever, since it's like 2024. I'm hoping that we kind of get some insight, like what did happen while she was passed out, because clearly they had her in the room. There was some other random dude there that was like with the gun and everything, and that stressed. That whole scene of her leaving that had me stressed. I was like, the anxiety I had. I was like, oh my god, this is not good for my anxiety. I'm stressed.
Every Ruth scene always has me stressed. Like, I can't, because she's actually my favorite character. I like her. I think she's, okay, yeah, she has the trouble with the drugs, absolutely. But I think she has a good personality. She's funny as hell. And you just, I don't know, I root for her, because I understand, going through something and, it really hitting you to a point where you kind of go really rock bottom. So I'm just rooting for her, like, from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, Zendaya's, like, she's amazing in general as far as, like, how her personality is outside of stuff. And so I do, you go in with that, like, knowledge. So, like, unless you do the role so well that I'm like, I don't like you. Because I see people that play the role so well that you're like, now you just always kind of side-eyeing them no matter what they do after. There's quite a few people I have, like, I'm like, maybe you deserve badness in this role, too, because what you did in this role for, like, 5 years ago. I am that person. However, with Rue, I think it's just, she also kind of had a shitty situation, because it is very, very true sometimes when you give the kind of medicine that was given to her at that age that it was given to her too, you can unfortunately cause addiction. It's usually why at least a decent doctor will make that the very last option to give a kid any type of drugs like that, because of how some people may be more prone to being addicted to it. It's literally like that's like the last option. Like, okay, now nothing else worked. Now we have to try this. And so I felt like they just kind of gave it to her right away. And then unfortunately on top of that and then her grief, it just kind of spiraled. And I think, like, yeah, she kind of needed more people to be a little bit more firm, honestly. I thought her mom finally, I was like, sis, you waited a little too late to put your foot down. I felt like you should have put your foot down probably in season 1 with some of the other stuff. And I get, like, not to say all black moms are, like, crazy, but there was a ton of things she was saying. I was like, once again, I could never say this to my mother and live. And so, and when she, like, some of the things she was saying was wow, disrespectful. And I'm like,
Rue's mouth is crazy.
Yes, I'm like, now granted, some of it was during, but, like, a lot of stuff she kind of kept, like, being, I'm like, who would have made it to tell the tale? I don't think so. Like, I just felt like, I'm like, sis, you got a little black, you got black, and you right, sis, gotta put your foot down. Like, there was no foot putting until, like, too late when she finally started getting, and I get that, again, she had to lose, her sister dealing with like another child who's like trying to navigate her sister's drug addiction, and then you also lost your husband. And so I get there's a lot of that components to that too, and everybody doesn't deal with everything the same. But I feel like half these parents truly was not putting their foot down and like taking some of these kids needed they ass can be honest. Some of these kids truly needed somebody to kind of yoke them up or something, because a lot of them was real wild, and I'm like, I could never, like, even if my mom upset me, I wouldn't even think to be like.
Half the time I'm like, where are the parents? Sometimes these
kids and so I'm hoping, because it feels like Rue's in a better place. I think my reason I like Rue also is because she's very sarcastic, and like, I'm a sarcastic person. The whole episode when it kind of came up about Cassie and Nate, and which is why it's literally my Twitter background. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, I had to put that on there because the petty. It's the petty. Like, she like this. Like, yes, a part of it was a little tough because she was like, let me kind of put the attention on somebody else. But also it was like, oh, I'm just gonna let this shit and dip. And so I, as a time, like, yo, that is super petty. And Cassie kind of deserves it because Cassie was really pissing me off this whole season as it is. And so, like, she deserved it, but also I was like, sis, that was super petty because you just dipped right after. It's like, bomb. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later. She just dipped. And so that's literally the reason why that's like my cover photo for a while, because it's violence. Choosing violence. I was perfectly fine with the violence being chosen. But I'm hoping that they tie up the situation with her and Lori, where if Lori goes down for this, Rue will kind of escape some consequences. But then again, usually when there's an empire, there's other people. And so there's like, what if she sends somebody else for Rue? Or, what if she goes after Gia? Because I thought about that too. Like, what if she decides to hurt the one person, that she does feel like, even though she argues with her sister, she loves her sister. And you can go after Gia, you can go after her mom. There's a few things you can do. Even if Lori goes down for this, she still has people who clearly part of that empire. That's obvious. And so I'm hoping they can do it well, where you tie it up and it's not like, what? Like, it makes no sense. Because I listen, I was stressed out that whole episode, and I was like, I thought we would have gotten some kind of answer by the end, but clearly we got to wait to 2 years to get that answer. And so, but I love her. I feel like Lori definitely needs to go. I guess. No, so even her talking, like, I'm like, there's nothing about her voice that gives me she wants to be your friend. I got that vibe, like, ooh, you're one of those. Just like, you're very shady, or you're very like sneaky, and you do what you need to do to kind of keep the things you got. It's just that vibe I got, and so poor Rue she didn't know.
Right.
I get it that it's a hard thing. Again, I don't have that struggle. I don't know what that struggle is, but I was like, oh God, you're so smart normally, and it's like this addiction has you not even realizing this is sis. Because even on the play part, when he did Ethan did the whole scene as Nate, and so her expression when she was like looking at Nate, but then she was like feeling the song, and I'm like, that would have been so mean. Like, ooh, this might be bad, but also this is my song, and like this is a good song, so I might be boxing the song too, but. Ooh, this might be a problem. And so when she did that, I was laughing because I was like, that's me. I'm like, ooh, but also like, ooh, this is a bop. Like, this is my champ, and so I love her. I think she's really like, when she's sober, she's good. She's a good person. And I feel like, if anything, Rue probably gained at least some sort of a friendship with Lexi. I feel like that was something that was,
and that's
that even through all of it, he was still her friend. Like, I feel like that was the one thing that really came out in the last episodes. Like, even through everything she's going through, Lexi's still like, you're my friend. And so that I also really appreciate it too, because sometimes people can't deal, and not that they have to, but often can't deal with somebody who's an addict. It's a lot. It's a lot emotionally. Like, that's a lot to put on somebody even this age. So yeah. So what are your thoughts? I guess about. I guess because Nate is like annoying, but how do you feel about his whole character this whole season? He had me tight. I was mad at him for most of the seasons, honestly.
I think Nate is a sociopath. I think he's crazy. I've never seen, like, he's one of the most infuriating characters. The only character I feel that pissed me off this much, I don't know if you watch One Tree Hill, but Dan Scott, like, Burn in Hell, that man was so evil. Is like baby Dan Scott. I'm not kidding. he's so evil. Like everything he does is just such evil intention behind it and so manipulative. And I think that's why he likes Cassie, because he can kind of mold her however she wants. She's easily manipulated. Manipulated. Jesus. Oh my God, pray for me. But Nate, like, please, like, and you're trying to put it all off on your dad while you're all messed up. No, bitch.
So that conversation he had with Jules when he was like the copy he gave to her was the only copy. I knew he was lying when he said it. I was like, there's no way you truly had a good person moment. It was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you the one copy and delete all the evidence of this. I knew he was lying when he said it. And so when it popped up, he had the USB, and I'm like, yes, your dad did sleep with a minor, but I feel like it is a bad thing. But also, she didn't lie, and I feel like in a situation where he truly didn't know, it's a little different. What I would say, and not saying that he should be sleeping with minors, should not be sleeping with minors before anybody starts that shenanigans. That's not what I'm saying. Right. What I'm saying is, in that particular moment, he actually did not know.
Right.
Now, if he would have kept trying to talk to her after he found out, I'm like, okay, bro. But it was also he was like recording people without their consent, and so there was that too. And so while I feel like his wife, she kind of pissed me off as well, because I'm like, first of all, you're a grown woman, you shouldn't have this much of an opinion of a teenage girl. The level of like she was spewing about Maddie was like, sis, she's at the end of the day, while half the school is extremely messy, they're also teens. And so you expect teens to do some dumb shit, and you expect teens to make really bad decisions sometimes because they don't know any better. What is your excuse? Because if you knew your husband was cheating all this time, I would have left. If you like men, do you, bro? Do you? I don't need to be involved in that, though. Like, do what you need to do. I think Cal should have probably admitted to himself that he probably was unhappy this whole time. He probably had this kid unhappily. He was probably with his wife unhappily, like, I have to go back to this woman every day. He probably was angry this whole time, and this is why it came out in the way it came out. I think he should have probably, and I guess he finally, when he did his whole drunken speech, that was his moment of, I let it out, this is what it is. But I'm guessing, also you was being kind of shady with going to Fez, because I was like, Nate deserved that ass whipping in season 1. And so you don't go to his house threatening people, bro, because your son is raggedy, okay? Your son is absolutely raggedy, and he deserves all the bad things. I just need by season 3, if he doesn't get whatever he deserves, I'm going to be upset. Like, somebody's getting a letter, okay? I'm not so... But he needs somebody to, he needs a lot of bad. And I don't like wishing that, I know, but his character has really gotten away with so many things throughout both seasons. So just he's able to do something, and then like, he kind of got, no, here's the reprieve. And so he did all of that after the play and got upset and acting like you cared about it supposedly be a homo. I was like, no, you were just mad because they were talking about you, bro. It wasn't just concerned about the community as a whole. You just didn't like that you was mentioned in this.
I'm an ally. Huh?
Exactly. I was like, bro, that's stop. It was somebody else. I was like, it wasn't because you wanted to be an advocate for the community. You legit was mad because they're talking about you, bro. And so your response is, because I like men too. Let me go put my father in prison. That's where your mind goes to. It's like, now people know. And I still don't even think the audience really put 2 and 2 together the way they should have, because a lot of them seemed completely oblivious to what was happening. Even just like, this place is amazing. I don't even think they understood the level of how much truth there was to that play. And so you told it yourself by walking out, because they legit didn't, like, nobody was looking at him but people who knew. Once you knew, like, kind of like, you kind of do some things that people might side-eye a little bit. Nobody else in that school seemed like they knew any of this shit was going on. They was really like, like, by the play, they was like, they didn't know. And so he told it himself, Kat told it herself, but I'm like, how are you mad that you exposed your own self? Because why the names weren't really that, the names weren't that great with the changing of the names. She didn't really do a good job trying to change the names too well. I don't think they really knew. Like, it just didn't, I didn't get the vibe that they knew. It seemed like they was like, even when Cassie started talking, the girl in the audience was like, wait, what? She was really concerned. Like, she was hurt as a viewer. I don't think she really knew what was happening for them to react the way they were acting. And I'm like, guys, you're kind of, maybe y'all just kind of just watch the play, like, the same thing nobody really had with suspect what was happening. happening. So I just need Nate to get all types of bad. Like if y'all don't, if he gets to go through season 3 fine and unharmed, I'm gonna be upset. Like he keeps getting a pass. I feel like he's the one character that he's getting a lot of passes.
Jump him the first. That's it.
Basically, I just feel like we kind of have to give him, you know.
I feel like he's gonna get Cassie pregnant. Like I feel like he's gonna have the same life as his dad, and honestly, maybe he deserves it.
And mom thinking it was gonna be Maddie, and I'm like, no. I feel like Cassie's gonna be one to keep the baby because she gets those vibes. She gets the vibes like I'm trying to have you any way possible. That's why she pretty much just keeps on her friendship away. I feel like of all the men that they implied in season 1 at least that Cassie could have pretty much had whoever she wanted to have because she was pretty and everything. And so it's just like of all the men in the school, just all the guys in the school, this is who you go for. Is the one person you know Maddie had this really. It was toxic because it definitely was, but you don't go out. You don't date your best friends. Man, like that's just a no. Like we don't do that. A friend don't mess with best friends. Like come on. And so just a whole like I'm crazy, and then I'm like you're not really crazy. I know crazy. You're not crazy. You're like emotional, and again, nothing wrong with being emotional. I mean, I cry very easily, you know. But I mean, her response to things is very emotional. She was trying too hard to be accepted by men at times. Because even when she was with the other guy in season 1, like she seems, and I don't know why they in that position where they did, but even with that situation, it was still like she was trying too hard to be like accepted in a way. And as you see, it's her downfall. So Maddie was like, "Oh, this is just the beginning." I think that was Maddie kind of warning her, like, "Oh, this is crack. He always does," and then probably hurt your feelings, break up again because that's what he likes to do. He has this whole, you know, interesting. Oh man, is it? I don't know what's happening. I'm on my actual mic. Can you hear better now, or
try it again?
You hear me now?
Yeah, better.
Okay.
Better.
Cool. I don't know why this mic is being weird.
I had to say it before because I was like, listen. She's getting out some good information. I need to make sure it's heard.
But Cassie's just, I feel like Maddie kind of warned her away. Like, this is the beginning. As in, he's going to keep doing this and gets upset. Because he did it with Maddie all the time. And then, yes, Maddie has made some moments too. The whole her lying about him choking her. I'm like, oh, I would have told so quick. Like, again, I've been a person, like, a little bit of, I've been in a situation where I was in an abusive relationship. So I get it. But also, it's like, I don't know if you're not going to put somebody completely innocent in jail either. And so it's like, you might make excuses. You might make excuses to somebody doing horrible things to you because you're blind, I think. But she did have to let a guy tell himself that he did something he did not do, and they had this guy go to jail and confess something he actually didn't do. That was a line that I'm like, nah, that's not the line you cross if you want to make excuses for him. You know, you don't be like, this random guy did it. It wasn't. And so that was my issue with Maddie. Just I felt like, I don't know if this was a bit of her, like, karma for what she did to that random guy. That was all voluntary. It was nothing forced in any way. And so I don't know if that was part of it, but she irritated me this whole season because it was like, sis, no man is worth this much of, like, being this, like, oh, I'll be whatever you want. Like, what? And again, we all make mistakes.
I was so embarrassed for her. Like,
sometimes we make mistakes, people we date. We do. We all had probably that one person we kind of was dumb. You know, we make excuses. We did some dumb stuff, but I feel like in this regard, you also knew how he was with Maddie. It wasn't like she was oblivious to this. You was Maddie's best friend. You knew Nick was also very toxic. You said you knew he was toxic and said, it's going to be this with me. Is it really? That's one of those typical, like, when you get the love bombings of, like, a narcissist and the other new girl's like, oh, he's not going to do this to me. And then he does. And now you're like, maybe you should listen to the person who already experiences. It was just it's different if you was completely oblivious to how shady he was, but you wasn't. Like, you really wasn't. Everybody kind of knew he was an asshole. And so it's just like, why would you thought you was like, I slept with him and now everything's going to be kumbaya in the beautiful moments? Like, sis, I was embarrassed. Even when she went to the stage and she was like, I'm like, if you sit there to wear that, like you would put that fall down the ramp going to the stage, sit down. I was so she's breathing in the window like that, and Ruth's expression was so everything. And she Ruth keeps everything. I love that Ruth is like she pays attention because I'm like, yes, I'm the same way. Like one exit, you gotta know where the exits are. You gotta find out what's happening. Something pops up, you don't want to be stuck in that. And so she's always paying attention to the surroundings. So she was watching all of us who noticed that Kathy was really glaring. Like, why are we doing this for Nate? For Nate, and another thing is you didn't date Nate's friend. It just is so much for me that it's like, sis, were you not dating his friend last season? Why is this like you okay with all of this? Like, just no type of like, just it felt like there's no type of real friendship there.
There's that, and there's no self-awareness. Like, girl, oh my god.
Her mom was also somebody who needed to put her foot down. I was like, sis, you're talking to them like they're your friends. Let her talk. Let her raise her voice at me, talking about she gonna do. Okay, sis. All right. Oh, I wanna. It ought to be over. What did she have with the bottle opener? What the hell did she have when she had that dramatic scene in the kitchen?
It was like a bottle opener. I'm like, girl. Anyways, get up out of here.
Like, why are you being like? And again, this is not to like downplay anybody who feels suicidal or any of that. It's just hers was definitely like attention seeking.
Yes.
Everything I thought she was doing was for attention. The dressing like Maddie, the going to the hot tub and dancing and drinking. It was to get attention. And it's like, you were the one that got the attention as this. You know, it was like you're comparing you and your sister. It seemed like Lexi finally kind of came into something by that play. Like, this is not something she's standing on her own. Like, oh, she is talented. She can write. Even though she kind of put all the business out there, she clearly had something that kind of stood on her as a person separate from her sister, separate from her being part of that group. And so you kind of had the attention this whole time, technically. Right. Why do you need to be this much over the top where it's like, oh, I'm crazy and you don't understand they weren't dating? Like, but even if they weren't dating, I feel like that's the one person you probably should try to avoid. Do you really think he loves you after he did all, like...
Even if they weren't, I mean, I feel like there's like a principle, like, and it's like 3 weeks. I'm like, girl, 3 weeks. They were broken up for 3 weeks? That's embarrassing. That's not a good...
Not 3 years. Like, it's 3 years, like 3 weeks since you think he really, like... They implied that him and Manny been through a whole lot. Why would that be something you think it's supposed to be like all of a sudden everything is great and he's just gonna fall for me? I was like, you didn't see that he was probably the rebound person? He put you in his house probably because it's like, oh, he knew you'll come. He knew you'd be there. He wasn't like he was like you had to give him a fight or anything, and then you literally was like, oh, I want everybody to know that I'm just, and I'm like, sis, just be better, do better. I was just like, I feel like Maggie didn't give her the hands to where she needed to, because as a viewer, I was ready to fight personally. I was just like, you know what, Cassie, you could have been my friend, like, or you could have been like, I could have been like the girl who was like, F her up, Maddie. If I was in that situation, I would be wanting to fight for you, because I'm like, how, like, you're supposed to be a friend, and this is what you do, and so in my head, it's like, oh, you're my friend, and you're hurting because of this person. I would protect you in some way, and so that would be my thing. I would be willing to fight for that person, and so I don't know. I just feel like she really wasted her like friendship over somebody who, like, what do he have going for him? Because I don't find him attractive. So I mean, that's when he's supposed to be a thing, but he has a shitty personality. Mm-hmm. He has anger issues, and clearly his, sex game ain't that great. At least that's what Maddie, like, and implied that, and if you tend to have a thing for guys as well, you might not be doing your best you can be, because you might not necessarily, your heart ain't in it, and so what was happening that was just so blinding that she was just like, oh my god, my friendship is fine, and then you sitting here doing all types of, like, you were just like looking a fool. Maddie didn't beat her. She needed to get break the brakes off her. I was hoping they was going to give some more like rumbling time, and we didn't get that, and it makes me sad because
I couldn't believe it. They made us sit through 72 minutes of Elliot and this damn song, and we didn't get a fight. Then listen to this man sing for 20 minutes. What? And then you tagged me in it. That was what got me mad. Like, oh, it's unfinished. Are you on drugs? No, but I mean, the end.
I saw that, and I'm like, yo, how is that not finished? And apparently the song is on like Spotify or some shit, I think. And people was like, did he finish the song? Was it like, is it like 30 hours long? And I'm like, right, because that was a long ass song. And not that the song was terrible or anything. It was just like, bro, you was shady from, I thought he was shady from the very beginning. And I said to people, I was like, I don't, he came in and I'm like, I don't know. That's something about him that's giving me shady vibes. The whole thing with him, like, oh, you're like when Rue was drinking, like, bro, you don't ever. If I know my friend is like recovering, I'm not gonna like pop up and yeah, let's go get some alcohol, knowing you're recovering in a way. I thought that's a shitty thing to do. And so you sitting there acting surprised. Then you guys like didn't care she got there safely, and then you like doing stuff with Jules, but then you're like, oh, we're friends, and I'm like, you're super shady, and I don't like shady people. And so he said that's all, and I just kind of, I'm like, you know what, we're gonna have to skip some of this because I don't care about your song. I don't care. Oh, is that you? That is super dope.
It's my new emote for my Twitter.
That is so cool. It's actually really cool. I love that.
He was like, I was just get your ass up out of here. I was so sick of him, and then Jules' ass too. Oh, Miss, I'm so good. I'm so innocent. I just want to help you. If you wanted to help her, you wouldn't have kicked her out the car. Like, you wouldn't have let her leave. You like, why would you let her leave? It was this dark road. Like, what? Like, do like kidnappers not exist in Euphoria land? Like, why would you just let her leave? Are you guys on? I keep saying, are you on drugs? Like, yes, they are on drugs. They're all on drugs.
Yeah. I was like, are we gonna sit here and act like I'm a first person when I'm with a friend. Like, you text me when you get home. I get real upset. Like, I told you to text me when you don't play with me. I will be super annoying until I know you. Like, oh, you sit. Okay, well, now that you sit, I can shut up. I don't like that in general. This is without being, drunk or anything. So the fact that you knew she was high, you knew she was drunk, you guys weren't really okay with that. I was just like, so you're not going to make sure, that can be mad, I guess, but make sure she gets home. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, even if she said, let me out, I would have been following in the car, like, all right, well, you can walk, but I'm going to just be following her, make sure you made it to your house, like, literally made it safely. I hated his whole, like, her thing too was like, okay, you have your own issues. And I'm not saying you don't. You clearly was working through some stuff as well. But that whole innocent thing really was bothering me. Because I'm like, sis, you literally said you sleep with whoever, which can be very questionable if you're now thinking about safety measures, because I didn't see anybody seem to be too safe in that show. I didn't see any of that happening. And so nobody seemed to care about make sure their safety with activities you partake in, have fun, but be safe. And so I didn't see any of that happening. And then it was like, oh, so you not drinking and being high and doing all types of stuff too, like, and then you luckily had your dad seemed pretty like.
Yeah, he seems good. He seems like.
Yeah, it seems. I feel like she got very fortunate in that regard. That a lot of people in situations where they're coming out or they don't have somebody supporting them in that way, and he seems like he really does support. And so I'm like, for them, like, everything ain't perfect. And I know you're struggling with, like, how you feel about your own mom and everything. But also, you're not this innocent person either. It was this whole, like, oh, I love you. Or, oh, let me give Rue. And yes, Rue definitely kind of needed an intervention to some extent. I feel like having it happen in that manner when she was already in that space wasn't the way to do it. Because she was going to already be defensive. So the fact that they did it that way, and then you sit here and tell me, oh, I love and care about you, like you wasn't doing stuff with Elliot. Like, okay, so we're going to sit here and act like you wasn't doing stuff. And even with the other girl she was hanging out with, when she wasn't that, like, look, you were doing many things kind of suspiciously. And then try to say, like, oh, let's play truth or dare to make up for the guilt. Like, oh, okay, if you do something, then I can do something too. Like, sis, she already was doing it. And so that annoyed me. Like, I feel like she was probably one of the characters that was also really agitating this season, because I'm like, stop acting like you're this innocent person. Like, you don't have flaws. You kind of flawed yourself. Like, Rue, yes, Rue definitely needs some help, and hopefully she's at a space now. I feel like it looked like, by the end of that play, she was kind of making some realizations, and so I'm hoping as she stated, Zendaya did state that she wants to hopefully we get a sober Rue in season 3, and I hope so. I feel like she does deserve to have a part of an experience where she's not high for most of
You
it,
know
or
who
she's
deserves
not.
it the most? Gia. Poor
Yeah,
Gia.
yeah, yeah.
That
I felt for her too. That's a lot to like to deal with your sister in that space, and your sister kind of taking it out on you, and then your mom's not really paying you too much attention because she's worrying about the other one, and then you're still trying to navigate high school as well. And so, like, we don't even know if she's doing well in school. We don't know if she has like anything happening because it's like rude. The situation kind of revolves around that. And so, yeah, she's also somebody that I'm hoping that there's some more in her character where we can see some instead of her being the poor sister who has to deal with all of this. Like, hopefully, they can give her some more character development, and we kind of see her having a little bit life too in the next season. Um, but yeah, I do think like Jules and Rue need to not be a thing. I always felt that like in the middle of season one, I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not really liking this because it just doesn't. It's too much happening. It's too like, and there was a lot of dependency to an extent, which can be very toxic as well.
relationship. That's a terrible foundation, codependency in a relationship.
Yeah, and so and that was obvious, which is why like Rue handled all of that so poorly in the season one, and then how poorly she could. But I think she doesn't even know the other stuff that we as the viewer know. So I'm like, I don't even know how she would have handled that.
Right.
And so I just think like the best for them is kind of just like leave it be, just kind of.
And I think Rue realized that. I think that's why she kissed her on the forehead and walked away, because I feel like she knows that they just weren't helping each other. They weren't helpful for each other. And Jules, bitch, you could have took the drugs and just kept it. Why you gotta flush it? Damn, y'all don't know where these drugs
are. I'm like, so even if you're not, you don't know what the drug world is. I'm not gonna say it like I do. I do not. I don't, I don't dabble in any of that. So I don't know what. But even I know that if there's this much drugs in the house, this is clearly a situation that I'm not flushing anything because this probably could be very bad. Like, that is the first thing in my head. It's like, so if she has a suitcase full, it's not because, like, yes, of course it's bad because she's an addict. But also, yeah, nobody questioned how she got a suitcase full of it. Nobody's going to go to a regular and just get to a regular dealer and be like, so give me a suitcase full of random drugs.
Well, you can't get that over the counter.
So clearly, that should have raised the antennas. Like, there might be something a little more before they flushed it. Like, give her the intermission, but don't necessarily tell. Like, maybe they would have gave the drugs back. Now, I don't know how well she would have took it. I don't know how, again, I don't want to sit here and act like I know. But... Well, I mean, I don't advise that, but I mean, do you? I guess, but be safe. But I just, as a part, like, I feel like I'm smart enough to know, like, how the hell did you get a suitcase full of drugs? I'm gonna be like, so I don't want to be in the house in case something pops off. You don't want to be in the house with that either. Personally, you don't want to be the cops show up and you're like, oh my god, he's stuck in here with this. No, so I'm like, so when you guys remove this, I'll come back to do the intervention personally, but I'm not flushing either because I feel like that could be so bad. I feel like I know in my head like this is bad. You like clearly this wasn't a regular thing of she got this from somewhere. She got this from somewhere. She got this. This is not like a regular store purchase or something. And so even the mom, I was like, sis, really? Like you didn't even think like, how the hell she get this? Like your mom, I don't know. She's really sent me this one season 2 because she's doing shenanigans, and I'm like,
just walking around, just oblivious to everything. Just kind of like she kind of gives me like she's a little bit of a blonde. Like I don't know, like sis. How do you know? And even like the way Rue was like walking around, and Jules is like even how Rue reacted to Jules, giving her, what she did, when she went down there. I'm like, girl, you can't tell this girl's on drugs.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. I was just like, the whole expression on her face looked like she was high. There was nothing that gave any indication that she was okay. And so the fact that you didn't even stop midway to be like, yo, are you okay? You waited to after like, oh, like you didn't peep that in the middle of that? Because I would have been like, oh, clearly you're not here. I already peeped that. And so I just, I don't know. The mom sometimes seems very oblivious, but I feel like if you saw a case full of drugs, somehow this is not a regular, like this is something clearly a lot worse. Right. That maybe you should have flushed it. Even like she thought, I think they made it as if her reaction to like where is it, as if because she wanted to get high at that moment. I was like, no, you're not even realizing that. Yes, she's like also going through the withdrawal, but also no, this is bad because this is a whole lot of money she now owes. To answer, I guess King Cash, he said, follow. I mean, I would like for them to follow Gia. I would like to see, like, again, I think she deserves some kind of happiness in some of this. She kind of getting the shitty end of the stick, being your sister and kind of having to come second in the situation, which, you know, it's unfortunate. I don't care about Elliot. I'm gonna be honest.
No, not at all.
I don't care about Elliot. He was, to me, just gave me shady vibes from the very beginning, and so I don't really like him. I would like to see them focus on Ethan because I did. He earned his. If he didn't earn it before, he earned it in the last episode. Bro he was grinding. Okay, like if he was getting paid, for his mini.
The others though, like, in what world are they gonna stop following Maddie, who's like one of the most popular characters? Rue, of course, who's the main character. They're not gonna stop following those people. I mean, I think that they'll focus more in on Gia and the twins. No, no, Elliot. Elliot is gone. He came to promote his music and he left.
His song did drop today too, so it's like he definitely was like, okay, let's get that song there.
I'm dipping. I was like, okay.
But I don't like his character too much anyway, and so there's that. I wouldn't mind Ethan though, because like if he was getting paid, I would be like, get your coins, bro.
Right.
He did his thing that whole play. I was like, though, you had all the roles. I respect it. You know, he was doing his thing. I felt like Kat's another one that I kind of didn't like, that she was gaslighting him a bit when he was like asking, and she was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, sis, stop. Like, you know, we're like, why are we playing dumb now? Like, don't gaslight. I don't really like particularly that. Hey, Charmaine. I don't particularly like when people gaslight. So like the whole like, yes, there was the parents didn't seem to like her too much, and I get that. Whatever, like sometimes parents, whatever. But in her case, I was like, I felt like she was doing everything to kind of make that relationship kind of end. And it's like all this extra. And I'm like, I don't think you really. He seemed like he appreciated you enough. I mean, I don't know if I missed something where it seemed like he didn't, but for the most part, it seemed like he did accept her. Hey, Mike. And so.
Hey.
I would like to see more of him. And maybe they'll give Cat, because I don't really know what they did to Cat this season. She had like a whole thing last season, and then all of a sudden it was just
so bad this season. I think the issue with Cat is because, you know, they kind of emphasize the fact she's like a Tumblr person, like she writes all this fan fiction, so she has an adventurous type, you know, active mind. I think Ethan just didn't fit the type of what she writes about. I think she was looking for something similar to what she writes about, which is ridiculous because where are you going to find a Viking just walking down the street? But sure. But I just think Ethan was just not what she was looking for, and she just, you know, was what it was. But it was just like the way they went about it was like, it was just bad writing all around.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that was a bit, they could have done better with some of the writing. There was a lot of stuff that didn't get tied up. And yes, you know, sometimes there's cliffhangers because got to go to the next season. But also there was too many like loose ends for me. Way too many loose ends that I wish they kind of would have done a little better with regards to some of the stories. I felt like they could have. There's a lot of things they could have tweaked to make it a little bit better. I felt like they was kind of all over the place with this season. Like I said, because the fact that it was such a big deal that she was like, "Oh, I'll get my money back." Well, I don't want nothing to happen to Rue because I don't. It was also like, this is a really big deal, and it kind of like after the episode of her getting back home, it was like, okay, well, what happens now? And I'm like, this is a big deal. There's a reason they made sure to let us know that while she seemed like she has a nice, caring persona, she clearly isn't. There's a reason you're the top of your empire. You got to kind of be a way to, you know, stay at the top of the drug dealing game. And so, I feel like they kind of dropped, like, they should have left some Easter eggs or something, like, is she going to be just like, okay, well, she escaped and that's it. The only thing was, it was just like when, in the last episode, and it would say, oh, Lori did it, like maybe, but even so, again, I'm sure she has a squad. there's no way she's doing everything completely by herself. And so that, I don't know. I feel like it was a lot of, he needed to get better with some of the writing, with some of the aspects, because it was a lot of left loose ends with it. A lot of loose ends. How did you feel about, I guess, the relationship with like Lexi and Fett? Because I actually really enjoyed seeing them kind of bond a bit.
I thought they were so wholesome. Like, I think it was a nice difference from, how usually the couples are. It's like so hot and heavy, it's so sexual, it's so like, I need to be on you. Like, this was just so cute. It was just like they were connecting mentally, and it felt more powerful than half the relationships that were going on in the show that were like so sexual heavy, like Cassie and Nate. I feel like it was so much about sex for them.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that aspect was taken out. Nate wouldn't look at her because all he ever loves to talk about is her boobs, which are great boobs, okay? But what else? What else do we have going on?
Yeah, I definitely think it was more of a what high school should be, I guess. And I'm not in high school now, so I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to act like in my high school people weren't doing things. Of course they were. But I feel like the core group outside of Lexi was into some crazy things. Like, they were all super sexual. They were all like drugs, drinking. There was no parental supervision, no parental guidance. It seemed nobody had like a good parental figure, except for Jules' dad. Except for Jules' dad, who seemed like pretty, everybody else's parents was kind of shitty. It's like, what are you? None of you guys seem too concerned with your kids. And so, I mean, I don't want to sit here and act like I know what's happening in all high school now. I do know there are the girls who do get extra pretty for school. I had a couple people I knew in my high school like that. But there's also regular teens who's literally just trying to get through high school, hopefully maybe to get a significant other or whatever, but it's not this insane. And so it was nice in that regard to kind of see just like they were just watching a movie, they were singing the song. It's like, oh, I love this song. He was super high while he was singing it. Yeah, and it was really nice just to kind of see them bond in that way, where it was like there's clearly a friendship here. And if it blossoms to something more, at least you guys started off as friends. You started off like getting to know each other, and it wasn't just like, oh, drunken sex, and now we're a couple, and let's have all types of high stakes arguing and everything else. And that's the one thing. It's like I did appreciate that they were trying to have Fez change, because again, he was like the homie you just kind of chill with. He was super like chill and laid back, and outside of what he in season 1, which Nate deserved, he didn't really like, he did his thing, but he really wasn't like Ash is the one that was raw in your face. He was very laid.
Literally, the show started with him killing someone. So, jeez, oh my goodness, he came in like Batman with a hammer. I'm like, 12-year-old.
He really never. He didn't think whenever he made actions, it was like he'd think later. I'm like, bro, no. That's the part that I felt like. Of course, he was young, very immature in that regard. Because he was young, he wasn't thinking about stuff he was doing. He was just doing. And like I said, I get like wanting to protect your face, but I was like, bro, a lot of times he was just like ready to. Even that scene with when Fed kicked Rue out when she was going to the withdrawal, and how quick he turned. I mean, he probably would have effed up Rue, like real talk. He probably would have like tried to fuck up Rue for whatever was happening if she didn't get kicked out. I really felt that, because he was ready. He just paused his show real quick, like, oh, what's going on? Oh, all right. And so he always was like, let's just do something. And unfortunately, look where that ended. How it ended for him in that regard is never. He didn't think first, like think. Even when Fez was like, don't do it, he did it anyway. And I'm like, oh. You have one job, bro. Just for once, listen. So yeah, I did like that aspect. Like, it just seemed more like they are regular kids in high school. There's kids who's not doing all these type of crazy things. They're just regular kids.
Realistic is what it is. It felt more realistic for their age.
Yeah, and it's not to say, like, again, I don't want to sit here. I'm in high school now, so I don't know what is happening in the high school halls of schools, if people really getting down like this. I truly do not know. But there are still some regular girls. I was a regular person in high school. I mean, I was super, like, nerdy and quiet and, wanted to get my grades. And I wasn't Leslie, like, oh, I'm in parties. And, like I said, my mom would have killed me if I thought I was going to somebody's party.
I didn't go to a house party or whatever until I was in college.
I think my first house party, I was already what? No, because my college life is a little different than most people because I went to like multiple schools, and so I didn't go to a house party as an adult actually. So I never did a teenage house party, and I didn't drink or anything. Like, well, I still barely drink now, and um, it's like so. I'm like, there are regular kids in high school because I was one of them who just like I was just there. Like I did my high school stuff, and I did my little job, and I went home and told my mom. Like, and my mom even thought I tried to do something. I would have like again lost my life if I thought like, Mom, oh, this to my mother. That wouldn't have played well, and so.
Girls. Ow.
Yeah, I could have never said half some of these girls would say it to their parents. I just like, whew, I couldn't think I could have done it. Like in my head, they should have knew I would have thought about it. And just
first two letters, like the first two syllables, and then I would just like wake up in the hospital. That's it.
Right, like who could be my mom? But you know, there are the regular girls. So it was definitely nice to see that. I just hope that maybe in like the next season there can be something like that, especially when you see the cops like step all onto the letter. Yeah, listen, Nate needs to get his. I've said this earlier, but if they don't end season 3 with Nate getting everything he deserves because he deserves all the bad things, somebody gonna hear my mouth. I'm about to start writing. So I'm gonna find this guy's like, listen here, sir.
Yeah.
Fix this.
Call the
Do you need me to write? Do you need me to write it for you? I'll give you an episode. It'll just be based off Nate, but it will just be titled Nate. And I'm gonna have like, every bad thing.
Halloween, whoever saw Halloween, the most recent one, Halloween Kills, come out with the iron, with the pitchfork, especially the iron. Actually,
okay, like or if you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one, because the characters in that movie they got what they deserved as well, doing stupidity. He would have got all. He needs to get all the business. He needs everything bad to happen to him. I'm gonna be upset if he goes to season 4, still not getting some punishment for what he's been doing. He's been escaping these things, and I'm getting real tired of him escaping. So I'm hoping that there's some repercussions for him because he's done some even when he put the gun to Maddie's face, I was like, if somebody don't get him for this. Putting the gun all in Maddie's face and all the stuff that he was doing, I was like, how he just run wild and just putting guns and
breaking into people's houses. I was so upset for Maddie. I was like, that's so traumatic. Why would you do that?
I mean, personally, I felt like I would have noticed, like I wouldn't have gotten that. Oh no, you don't stand. I don't stand. No, you just get like the whole side eye. Like I don't know what you look like, but side eye.
What they meant was no, we can't stand with a D, Nate.
I hope that's what you mean because we don't stand Nate in these parts. We don't.
Terrible.
You got like the side eye I just gave you because no, we don't.
He was just so terrible.
He's terrible. Like I know he's in that movie Kissing Booth, and I'm like, I don't. Even though that movie came out first, I'm like, I don't even care because now you're just Nate Jacobs, and so I just now despise everything you're in, and so. Yeah, I just need him to have all these bad things happen to him. I just can't. I can't feel. I feel like he can't keep getting away with everything. Listen, you sit here defending him like he was doing terrible. He was threatening Jules. Okay, he was like, and I don't really particularly like Jules, but he didn't do all that. He was threatening her, blackmailing her. He just made that poor guy turn himself in for something he actually didn't do. He didn't commit that crime, but they made him go to jail. He tried to like bully his and that's his dad could do stuff. Come on, he was just bullying everybody. He needs some punishment for what he's been doing.
And his mom need to get that too. Her weird self. I don't even like her. I can't stand her. Oh, I was so proud when you pulled Maddie off like that, girl. Shut up.
If my son did something like that, the level of like flip, like first of all, don't put you like. I believe in yes. Sometimes people do shenanigans. You might have to defend yourself, but that wasn't a situation. He needs some therapy. Even when she was like, "Oh, I probably should put you in therapy," then put him in there, sis. If Kyle want to feel away, he gonna feel away. Because my kid, if I felt like he was doing things a little bit questionable younger, you go in therapy. We're gonna try to see what's going on here. We're not gonna wait till you're now probably can't really change now, and it's like, well, I should have put you in therapy. You think, sis? You think?
Right.
And then you want someone you don't like Maddie, like you sitting here acting like you probably knew Kyle liked
You
what he
saw that
liked.
she was looking at Derek, and that one time when they were having that like wrestling match, she was like,
And you still let you could let him be happy, but no, you married him and had 3 kids, and then wouldn't have the audacity about you don't like that. Really, sis? He just said okay. See, we doing shenanigans today. I see because I don't know who the.
You're trolling. No, they have to be trolling. They're trolling for sure. Don't even. That's trolling. Because the other person wasn't a rapist, though.
Like, but say like let's not. Okay, you must be trolling now because. But yeah, I don't know. Did we cover everything? What did we miss from this season?
I think. I'm just so happy Cassie got beat up. At least she got a bloody nose. That was great. Listen, Maddie, all she had was a scratch on her foot, and I'm sure she got it from kicking her in the face. Outstanding.
I love how like her nails matched everything. I was like, oh, she be like putting herself together, like the nails, the makeup, the like, just I'm glad that's all she got. Cassie deserved more though. She needed to get her ass kicked a lot more.
Yeah,
I feel like Kat was like, no. I'm like, listen, in a situation like this, like, there's just certain things you don't do. And best friends.
I can't. That's Chloe. These are all my emotes for Twitch.
Sorry, guys. There's like somebody doing weird stuff on the motorcycle in front of my apartment. So yes, like we did admit. I admitted that he probably should have done a little bit more diligence with finding out how old. But Nate was definitely suspicious of many things. Okay, many things, and he's done some shady things. I just feel like he needs to have some kind of repercussions. But
I think
overall, the show. I mean, I don't know. Did you start watching when it first came out? Because I kind of had to like catch up to season 2. So like, I didn't watch it when season 1 first came out. I watched it right before season 2 dropped, so I can be prepared for it.
I started watching the show this. Like I saw the first episode of season 2, and then I went back to season 1 and watched it. And so I caught up like that because I don't know, like I was watching so many things. Listen, I had too much on my plate. I cannot do it.
Same. I get that. I was just like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna like this show, but I'm like, okay, it's actually pretty. Look, it's not bad. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff happening in the show, but not bad. But yeah, I kind of catch up, so I was prepared for season 2, and so it's like, all right, now I can watch it and not feel like I'm missing anything. I think the second week season 2 started, I had to kind of go through all of season 1 to kind of be like, all right, now I can watch the season 2 and I'm not too far behind. So I binged. But yeah, I mean, I did think they need to tie up the writing a little better, hopefully in season 3.
Yes.
I need some characters to kind of get some punishment for the shenanigans. I feel like Cassie needs to kind of take, like, she got a little beat up, but I feel like she needs to, because her whole, like, meltdown, I feel like the repercussions for some of that, like how she was with her sister. Because even when she, like, her dad came in and, like, she opened the door for him, I was like, now I get you're a child and all, but like, are we gonna listen? Cassie, lucky she didn't get the rest of that, because
it felt like karma to me. And also, especially right after Cassie calls her sister a bystander, how she doesn't live. Cassie, I'm sorry you think betraying your best friend, slapping your titties everywhere is living. But don't come for Lexi because
yeah, clearly there's some daddy issues there because she felt the way about her dad, and there's clearly that issue there. That's clearly there, but also, let's not act like he was being the best.
Literally, Cassie is like a habitual like victim. Like she wants to be the victim all the time, even when she's not the victim. She never wants to take any accountability. I can't stand her. Even after she got beat up by Maddie, she's still sitting here trying to get some type of sympathy from her, saying, "Oh, Nate broke up with me before I got on the stage." Girl, did nobody ask and don't nobody care. Get about this bathroom.
Yeah, she definitely really was like I'm like, okay, is that really the moment right now to be like, well, he broke up with you? You still went on the stage. You didn't like, let me give myself a minute to calm down. You just was like, I'm gonna glare at my sister through the glass. I'm gonna make this over the top entrance. Like she was walking real purposeful with her heels and the switching, and then like you wanted attention on you. You said that it was your sister's attention, but you truly, because I think the audience was really oblivious. I feel like they were really dumb to not notice that stuff was going on, but like they truly was like, is this part of the play? They didn't know. They legit didn't know what was happening, and so it's not like, yeah, Lexi put it out there, but the ones who knew were the ones directly involved in the situation, which is the main core cast. They knew because this was her friend group, so they knew. But the rest of the school truly didn't know. They was like, is this part of play? Even when the mom got up with that, and they was like, whoa! They thought like this was just some amazing acting. Like, oh, there's some realism. They didn't know what was happening. Like, apparently this school is dumb as hell. And so they didn't know what was happening. That was quite obvious. Like when the girl was, she was like, oh my god, like, you know, and that's one of the reasons why she shouldn't have been messing with Nate, because that did just happen.
Okay, like she could be dealing with all of that, but that doesn't mean, like I always say, just because your situation and your pain is understandable does not make your actions acceptable. That doesn't mean she's around being a douchebag, doing crappy stuff to everybody. And I didn't like how she tried to talk about Rue after the whole, when Rue put her on blast. Oh, like because her dad died. Girl, are you on drugs? I keep saying that, but they are. But I'm like, why would you say something like that? How is your dad leaving and her dad dying the same thing? She also overdosed. She's dealing with that as well. Like, girl, you guys are not dealing with the same things. Don't try and like be a victim. Like always, it's ridiculous.
And yeah, granted, her dad was kind of shitty because clearly he was like, he went there to steal the stuff and dip. And she was trying, I guess, at the time, like, oh, but you're my dad, I want to help. And she didn't understand that. And you get a pass for that. But I'm also a firm believer, like, you can't keep using that as an excuse to be shitty. And so, yes, it sucks. I feel like all of them pretty much had what happening. They did.
Yeah.
Clearly, they all had some issues they needed to work through. All of them, the core group. However, with that, you still was like, everybody knew we was like a druggie. We all knew this. Like everybody, like even when she came out, and it was like, didn't you OD, like almost died last year? It was like no knowledge. There was no like people were still treating her a little bit different in the beginning of the season. That they were treating her differently because she almost OD'd, or she OD'd and had to be put into like a rehabilitation center. And so yeah, I'm not. I don't know, Casey. I don't even think Casey and Rue was even that close like that. I feel like Lexi was the one that was close with Rue. That's what it was implying. But yeah, even so, like even with the situation, like I don't even think she really seems concerned what happened to the other boyfriend in season 1, like that whole hazing situation. She didn't even seem too concerned with that situation. I would have been like, are you? And even if he lied and like, I'm okay, when clearly he wasn't okay, I would probably be checking in a lot after that. Just like, are you like, this seems a little bit traumatic. Like there was none of that even happening on her end. It was just like she just moved on to the next. And then the whole like, oh, but he loves me, and I'm like, there's no way. And then again, I'm a romance author, and so there's some people really do get married, and they fall in love quickly, and it happens, and they're married. Like I know quite a few people who actually that happened. However, in Nate's case, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Nate was not that perfect guy coming to help Cassie take her away in her castle and everything else. He is a shitty person, and not just to women in general. It's to the people around him. He's shitty to everyone around him. It's not even just, the women he's with. And so I just feel like even like when he was messing with Jules in like season 1, like there was no need for that breakdown at the party where he was like harassing her. Even there, it was like you were doing too much.
That was so dramatic. I was like, are you good, bro?
Yeah, like why are you doing all that, talking about who invited you? Like, bro, because you have him on these random house parties.
Because he was on drugs. That's why.
Like, so it's just I'm hoping, but it was solid. There were some issues I had, obviously, because I'm just like, how did we get here? Why is there no explanation for this moment? Why is Nate still getting to go off with, into sunset still? And so I'm hoping, and But I think my biggest thing for season 3 is just hoping that we get Rue sober. It would
Yes.
be nice to see because I feel like she probably has a really good personality. Like again, she's really sarcastic. She happens to be very observant, which is actually a good thing to have when you have like that's a good trait to have to be observant of your surroundings and people. And
Right.
she reads things pretty well. I feel like seeing that sober will be really funny because she doesn't have anything kind of inhibiting her in a way. And so I'm hoping that we get sober Rue and hopefully I feel like Maddie is really done I feel like she is. I feel like the whole gun situation kind of like
Oh,
if nothing else was making you feel a little suspicious, that might have made you like, all right, we clearly you don't care. I would hope. I hope
oh yeah,
um
for sure.
that she's completely done. Um and hopefully, there's something with Lexi and Fez because
After he finishes his bid.
they had to keep I was like, I had to keep showing the cops step on his letter. Like that wasn't even necessary. Like, yeah, 4 times, like let's crumble it this way. Let's give another angle if y'all step on the I'm like, all right, I mean, we know. We know. Um, See, and that was another thing. He said all that about he would protect his dad's business. I was like, clearly, bro, because look how quick he told his dad. He said that like 2 episodes. I gotta protect my dad, the business. You think the business is protected now, knowing this? I feel like he kind of was like F the family business because he was mad that he told himself. Because he basically told himself. I don't think, like I said, I don't really think people really paid like put the connected dots. That school seemed really dumb for some reason. The audience was really oblivious. And I have to admit, the level of the money that play, who was funding? Who was funding the play? Because there were a lot of scenes, like the costumes and the props was very well done for a high school play. I was like, y'all got time for a carousel horse?
I'm like, dang,
You had the moving walker hallway thing happening. I was like, you guys got good money for a school play. I didn't have this in my school, and my school was made for arts. And I don't recall having this in my school. So, you know, kudos to whoever was funding the play in that school. And the stage, the black girl that was helping her with the
Bobby, oh my god, I love
she
her.
she was like everything because she was just like, oh, you just let it happen. Like she was just like kind of shady. Like she was a little bit shady, but she was background shady, and I appreciated that. And so
I love Bobby. They need to add her in more scenes next season for sure. I love her voice. I love like her personality. Her sending the girl on the stage while Cassie was still talking to do the carousel scene. I'm like, she's for the mess, and I love it.
she was like the petty, but petty in the background, like background petty, like just a little bit, like because she definitely wasn't the mess. Even with the auditions, she was like being kind of messy, and so, but it was funny. And then the fact again, the I feel. Yeah, I mean, yes, I feel like the core group knew. I really feel like those kids in the audience really didn't know. They looked really oblivious.
Even when Cassie and Maddie were yelling at each other, it was still like, what? It was like, what?
Yeah, I feel like they really wasn't putting 2 and 2 together until that happened. And even then, they still kind of was like, I don't know, this might still be part of the play. Like, they looked really, like, oblivious to everything. I feel like they didn't really know what was happening. Because when the girl was like, wait, she leaves? Like, she was hurt. Like, she felt like that play mode she was hurt. She was really hurt that happened.
Marta.
Like yeah, she was hurt. I don't think she really knew what was happening. I think they really believed this was all just a play, and Lexi just got real creative and decided to use her friends as just like we use some reference to your friends, writers do it, but like not really, really. I don't think they really knew because even when nobody paid attention and was like, ooh, Nate's leaving. Somebody looked back and then that was it. Nobody really paid except for the core members who knew already. So I don't really think. I think the school was a little bit oblivious to a lot of stuff that was happening apparently. But yeah, I hope I'm kind of annoyed we had to wait 2 years for season 3 because I hope I can still feel the same level of like dedication by 2 years. Like, what could happen in 2 years? Like a lot of stuff happened. I mean, I feel like I hope the dedication can still be there for me to want to watch. But my PlayStation controller just like fell. Yep, can't be breaking controllers. But yeah. It was a solid season. Like again, there was some issues. I felt like season 1 was done a little better with writing wise.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little too much mess happening in this season, but
they really turned it up this season with the drama and the mess.
They did. But yes, I feel like we have covered everything now. I feel like we hit the major points of this season. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I hope you guys like liked us ranting and yapping about Euphoria. So like, but most people, not everybody, have watched the show and liked the show. Uh, but well, I did say I thought the people in the school was dumb. I did say they were kind of oblivious. They gave me the oblivious vibes. They seemed real confused with some of the stuff that was happening. Like, what? I don't think they knew. I think they were kind of dumb. I
It's
really do.
because they're all on drugs.
I really feel like some kids are really oblivious of the kids in that play. There's no way that was the whole school in that auditorium. So yeah, I feel like those who came to the play was like, oh, let's see what's happening. I don't think those kids really know what's happening. I really don't. I just don't get those vibes. But yeah, I don't know if we should watch something else and review it. We never got to do heels because
it's just I don't even know if I'm gonna like it like that. For me to download a whole app I'm not gonna use. You're bugging, Steven. You're bugging. I'm sorry.
I personally don't like him as it is because fuck him. Not that he did anything to me. He didn't do anything to me. I just don't like his face. It really bothers me. There's a few people I don't like his face.
Not his face.
He irritates me. I'm like, oh, shut up. He started talking. I'm like, I'm going to hear you talking. So that was already strike one. But in strike two, I was like, why is this so complicated? I don't want to make another account for something to watch this. Like, why I got to make another account to watch this show? And so that is why we haven't got a chance to do heels. But hopefully there is some other show that we can do and like collab on.
I would love that because BB's hilarious. BB was the MVP of the last episode. I'm sorry. That's why
she definitely was. She was like background petty. I loved it. She was just like just enough petty, and her voice was like perfect petty. But yeah, hopefully there's something else. I don't know if you guys would want us to cover something else.
We'll find something out. We will see what we're watching, and we will listen. It'll work out. Okay, it'll work.
Yes, because it's always nice to collab with my girl Shayna. So, but thank you guys for joining us. You guys we talked for a bit, and you guys hung out with us, and so much appreciation for that. Hopefully, we'll be back sooner than later, but I'm sure we will find something to collab because this is a brand new. It's like, yo, do you wanna do this? Like everybody's like most people are watching it. Why not? And so we gotta wait 2 years. I mean, shenanigans. But I don't know, maybe we can do Degrassi or something because that show is also.
I was just thinking about that. Oh my god! Stop reading my brain right now.
I mean, we could. That show was super messy. It was super messy. Super messy. So we definitely can probably do Degrassi, especially that first.
What is it on? I forgot where it's streaming on. Something.
It's on a few things. Because I wanted to rewatch anyway, so we definitely probably can and maybe like rewatch season 1 and then do an episode. Because I feel like if we do it by episode, we'll be doing it forever. And so there's a lot of Degrassi. So I feel like what we should do is, we should do it by seasons then, and then we could just figure that out and then try to watch the first season and then we'll do a recap of season 1 and go from there. And I think I definitely do. Degrassi was my shit. I kind of do like a one summer. I was like, what show is this? And I had to watch mad seasons that summer to catch up to the new season. And I was like, oh my god, the show, like, even to this day, JT.
Listen,
here.
The real ones know about the end. Listen, Team Nick had a chokehold on me. The best years, freaking instant stuff.
The best years was my shit.
I will go here. They had a chokehold on me.
Yes, we're talking about with Obi Graham, yes.
Yeah.
Drake.
Yes. Graham, I'm not gonna.
I mean, that is his name. So yes, we're talking about Mr. Drake. Yes, Jimmy. We're rapping Jimmy. But yes, we definitely should do Degrassi then, because I definitely did want to rewatch. That was my shit. They even had like Team Nick used to have the freaking computer game that was you could play like the camp. Do you remember that? Where it was like you could play the killer or the campers?
Listen.
I used to be really nice in that game because I conned everyone. I conned everyone. I was like, I'm not the killer to the end.
Are you talking about Slasher? I was.
Yes, I was so nice in that. I was always able to con everybody. Like
long sometimes the queues used to be so long. I'm like, hurry up! And then someone who would leave when people would leave the game. I'm like, I want to find your IP address. I swear, because like we waited too long for this.
But yes, I was able to definitely con a few people that I was the killer. Like, not me. Like, what you thought? I was able to do that pretty well. That was my game, and that was all because of Team Nick. And so, definitely, we should do the Degrassi next. I guess we'll figure it out as far as when, so we can watch the first season and come back and do that because that was definitely full of drama. So, if you guys want to hang out with us for that, then you probably should watch the Degrassi. So, you guys, if you haven't, I feel like I would hope most people watch Degrassi, but you never know. Somebody will be like, what is Degrassi? And so if you guys want to join us for that, definitely try to start watching so you guys can join us and chat about all the beautiful characters that is. Listen, I understood that because shenanigans. I was like, especially you had to wait to get enough to be in the room in the first place. So it was like we had to wait to get enough keep members, and you guys are doing shenanigans. So why don't you?
Tell you if they left. It was
like Wi-Fi wasn't popping back then either. There was a dial-up. You was doing these games on dial-up. It wasn't even Wi-Fi, okay? So it was shenanigans that they even left the game. They'll be leaving the game during this. I mean, they might have got kicked. So now I'm thinking about it. Their mom probably I gotta use the phone, and now they had to leave. But still.
Game had a chokehold. When I came back to the website and they like completely overhauled when they changed their name and stuff, and it wasn't there. Like my heart was broken. I was like, well,
I have a little profile on that site. Had a little friends. Oh, it made me sad thinking about this. But yes, it was definitely a good time. Definitely team. The end knew what they were doing. They
avatar too, because I used to go crazy with my avatar.
Yes, I changed it like every other day. I was changing up the avatar. Oh my god, I used to change my avatar all the time. I lived on that site. It was bad. I did. I definitely lived on that site. But Degrassi was the shit. So we would definitely do Degrassi then because there's quite a few seasons. We'll just set up a date and let you guys know so you guys can prep and watch along, and then you guys will be ready for the recaps because there's quite a few seasons that we can't go by episode. We'll be doing that for like forever.
We'll be here for years.
Yeah, so we have to go by season, or we will be doing this for
for as long as Elliot had ruined that motherfucking room playing that damn song.
But yes, tell what's coming up for you on Unpopular Review.
Well, I don't have anything for the rest of this week, but I am going to be streaming on my Twitch tomorrow. It's Shay Sawyer Says. If you want to hear me scream because I'm running from a killer, most of the time it happens to be Ghostface. Definitely tune in.
As for me, you can catch me over on Women's Wrestling Talk. I do some interviews there. I just had the live tweet a AEW call. I was very professional in my tweets, though. I didn't say what I wanted to say. Very professional in my tweets. Because you know how I feel sometimes with Tony doing the shenanigans. And so I was like, let me just be professional and just do what he says and just repeat what he says without saying, like, bro, stop lying, because I wanted to. So I like especially my tweets. You can find me on Wrestling Talk also in Cat We Trust on YouTube. I do have wrestling interviews. My last one was with Misa Kate, and I have my next interview with the protagonist of Wrestling, Kid Bandit, which is actually really, really fun interview, and I can't wait for that to drop. It was a really, really fun interview. And I'm also on I said it's gonna be on Twitch. I totally slacked because shenanigans. But maybe we can collab on that too because I do want to play Dead by Daylight. I just haven't had I do think we should probably just play. You have PlayStation?
I do.
Yes, okay, so that's great. I have PlayStation, so we can play it on. I don't know why I'm not even following you on PlayStation. I probably need to add you on there. Yeah, we could probably do that at some point and try to collab with Twitch, at least on Dead by Daylight, because I've been wanting to play
later.
But nobody's ever on. I'm like, guys, I want to play and do something with the game because I do have it, and so we could do that. I'm on Twitch. I'm TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. You can see me usually. Instagram is usually posting nice things. Twitter, I'm just talking a lot of shit. So I don't like to share on Twitter, but Instagram is usually a lot nicer. I'm just being more supporting of people on Twitter. I do talk a lot of shit. So whatever side you want to see of me, follow me. Have a good time. Definitely check out Unpopular Review. They have all the wrestling shows, the AEW Dynamite review. There's the Raw review. There's the SmackDown review. The NXT, which Shayna and homie Ron is part of. So check all that out, and I know they have the entertainment portion as well. So subscribe and all that good stuff. And until next time, guys, we will catch you guys later. Bye.